Sorry if you were expecting Dom and you're wondering who's the white dude. I will try my best to fill in his shoes, and I know he'll be back next weekend and be glad to be with you guys. Dom and I have been friends for, I started thinking about this last night, I think a little more than 15 years that we have been friends, done life together for a long time, been through the ups and downs together. And I was thinking about, we both served on staff at a church years ago, and I was remembering this one particular series that we did on fasting. And it was the beginning of the year, it was January, and so we had decided as a church, as a group, that we were going to fast for 30 days. And if you're unfamiliar with church and that term and what that is, fasting is essentially refraining from something that you normally depend upon for an extended period of time so that you can, seek God and pray and all that good stuff. And so we had decided that we were going to fast food for 30 days, that we were going to drink nothing but water. And they tell you that after about day 2 or 3 of just drinking water, that the hunger pains go away. So we started fasting, and I remember it was probably lunch that first day, and I was hurting. I mean, I was dying, and I made it a couple days. About day 3, everything looked good. All I could think about was food, and there's not much I won't eat. I don't like olives. I don't like celery. But at this point, I would have eaten an olive and celery sandwich. I was so hungry. It's all I could think about. And still hadn't had any food on day 3. And so I had to run to the post office and drop off some packages for the church. And I remember I was driving along and heading down. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this little place called Sonic as I'm driving by. And immediately I look over and I see Sonic. And I say to myself, Self, you're not allowed to go to Sonic. No Sonic for you. You're not allowed to have food. And I kept driving a little bit further, but this other thing, this war was going on. And at some point, something took over the steering wheel, and my car began to pull in to the Sonic parking lot. And I pull up to the little Sonic drive-through right there, or the little hut. I don't know what they call those things. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, I should not be here. I'm not supposed to eat for 30 days. We've been telling that we did a sermon series. We told the whole church, everybody's fasting. I'm one of the leaders at the church, and I'm sitting here in Sonic, and I'm looking around to see if anybody I know notices me here at Sonic. And I thought, you just need to leave. But then my window began to roll down. And my hand kind of went out, and I pushed that magical red button, and the lady spoke to me on the other side of that screen. And I ordered a foot-long chili cheese, a coney, and a large order of onion rings, and a Route 44 cherry limeade. And when that thing came out, that was the best freaking meal I'd ever had in my entire life. I mean, it was like, food shavings are flying. I ate that thing so fast. And after I finished eating, I just felt bad. I was like, oh, I'm the worst. And I look up in the mirror, and I can see like chili stuck in my beard, a little mustard over here. And so I gathered up all the evidence and threw it away, and I cleaned out my car so no one could catch me. And I stepped back down, and I was like, I got to go back to the church now, and I can't tell anybody. I can't tell Dom and all the staff, everybody will know. So, I'm practicing like I'm really hungry face. Yeah, that one's probably good. I'm good. And so I get, ready to leave, and I stick my key in the ignition, and I go to turn, and I hear a vroom, 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 vroom. It's like, oh, no. Vroom, 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 vroom. And I was like, oh, no, this is not good. And immediately I start praying, like, God, I'm so sorry. I know I should, that I shouldn't have done it. I should have just fought through it. Please start this car. Vroom, vroom, vroom. I mean, it was not turning. I was like, man, I'm going to have to get somebody to come jump my car. And I'm at Sonic. And everybody I know goes to the church. Like, there's like nobody that I know that I can call. We're all supposed to be on this fast. So eventually I was like, I got to call somebody. It's like, well, I'm going to call Dom. And so I call him, and he picks up. I'm like, hey, man, my car won't start. I need you to come give me a jump. We can get my car started. And he goes, well, where are you at? I'm at Sonic. Where? Sonic. And for the next 90 seconds, all I could hear was hysterical laughing on the other end of the phone. I mean, just laughing. And I sat there. I remember holding the phone, waiting for him to finish and stop laughing. And finally, I was like, dude, this is no joke. I need you to come and jump my car. And I guess in a moment of maybe he just felt bad for me. He wanted to encourage me because I was feeling so guilty. He goes, listen, it's okay. He said, this morning I was headed to church, and I was so hungry. He goes, and I couldn't stop thinking about Krispy Kreme. And he said, so finally I was like, I'm just going to go to Krispy Kreme. He said, and on my way to Krispy Kreme, he goes, I ran out of gas. And he goes, and my car, he goes, I had to pull my car to the side of the road. I'm like, no way. He goes, yeah. He goes, and I think that was God giving me another chance, not to go to Krispy Kreme. I said, what'd you do? And he said, well, I got out and I pushed my car all the way to the gas station to get some gas. I was like, man, that's amazing. You didn't break your fast. He goes, oh no, I still went to Krispy Kreme after I got gas. Horrible. Dom and I have had that kind of relationship for a long, long time. He's a friend of mine that I can be completely open and transparent with, that knows everything about me, that knows, when I'm doing good, when I'm doing bad. It's someone that truly sees me for who I am. And I know that if life happens, and when life happens, and when hard seasons come and difficulties come, that he's somebody that's going to step into my life, and he's going to ask me how I'm doing. He's not going to accept, I'm doing okay or I'm doing fine, because he knows that's not the case. And then he's going to get in my face and get in my mess, and he's going to walk alongside me, and he's going to wrap his arms around me and encourage me and love me, pray with me, and believe that this season of darkness will come to an end. I mean, he's a friend. Like, I think we all have friends. We say that's a friend, she's a friend, or he's a friend. We comment each other on each other's Facebook posts, and we heart each other's Instagram pictures, and we text each other, and we see each other out with their arms around each other. Hey, how you doing? And they're my friend. But do they truly know you? Like, is it more of a surface level friend? I'm talking about an inner circle. I would say that Dom and a few people in my life are what I would call this inner circle of people that truly know me and have been walking with me for a long time. And so I got to thinking, do you have a circle? Do you have a circle of 2, 3, or 4 people in your life that truly know you, that know exactly where you're at, what's going on, that if you're hurting on the inside, that you know that they're going to be there in a second to walk alongside you, to pray with you, to believe with you, to encourage you, to pick you up and tell you it's going to be okay and walk with you? Do you have? See, maybe you're here today and this is your first time. Somebody invited you, has been invited to you, and you finally came because they offered you lunch. And, and you're like, I'm broke and I'm starving, so whatever. So you came to church with them today, or maybe you thought this was Rambo Last Blood, and now you don't want to get up, and you're a little embarrassed. You're in a movie theater, but it's too late now, so now you're just going to sit there and listen. Whatever the reason is, I'm glad you're here. I don't believe it's by accident. I believe it's for a reason. But let me ask you, do you have a circle? Do you have a close inner circle of people that are close to you in your life, that can come alongside you when life happens, when darkness comes, when pain comes? Maybe you've been coming to the heart for a while, and you recently, within the last year or two, made a decision to follow Christ. You stepped across that line and said, I'm going to follow Jesus. I'm going to give my life to him. You were baptized in the river, and you're getting plugged in, and you love this place, and everything's great, and you say, that's the greatest decision I've ever made. Let me ask you, have you been purposeful in developing that circle of people in your life, those relationships of people that are coming along beyond just the Sunday crowd and the smiles and everybody gets dressed up and hugs each other and drinks the coffee? Do you have those 2 or 3 people? Or maybe you've been doing church forever. You've been doing this Jesus thing. You served in the church, and I think that's a place where it can be most dangerous, because I think it becomes real easy just to be able to have surface relationships, to have the smiles and happy and everything's going good. No, you're smiling on the outside. You're dying on the inside. You're hurting on the inside, and nobody knows because you don't have that circle of people in your life. Scripture talks about throughout the Bible about having a close group of people, about having people that you're doing life with. See, we're designed to do life connected together. We were never designed to do life on our own. This journey of following Jesus was never expected to do alone. It was always designed for us to do it together. Now, I want to look at a few verses today that talk about relationships and the value of having those few people, that circle of people that are true friends in your life. And I want to look at the book of Ecclesiastes. If you don't have a Bible with you, I know they'll have the scriptures behind me. If you don't know the book of Ecclesiastes, most theologians believe it was written by King Solomon. King Solomon was the son of King David. King Solomon, God came to King Solomon in a dream and asked him, what can I give you? And King Solomon prayed and asked for wisdom. And God was so pleased with what he requested that he didn't ask for wealth and riches and glory and fame and long life and all this. He was so pleased with him that he made him the wisest man that has ever lived, then and now. And God gave him this wisdom. And so he's given us several books in the Bible. The book of Proverbs, book of Ecclesiastes are considered the wisdom books. And I want to look at chapter 4 where he kind of begins to talk about the value of being connected in relationships. So we're going to be in chapter 4, verse 9. And if you can picture Solomon, he's towards the end of his life now. Here's the wisest man who ever lived. And he's towards the end of his life, and he's essentially just looking back, and he's like the old Yoda giving us wisdom on how to live out life. Like if I could go back, this is what I would do. And he's saying, hey, this is what you need in your life. And we're in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, and we're going to be starting in verse 9. And this is what he says. He says, 2 are better than 1 because they have good return for their labor. And then he goes on and says, if either of them falls down, one can help the other one up. Well, that's 2 are better than 1. I mean, that's not a massive revelation, right? And we all know that. When it comes to doing some type of project or cleaning the house, or if you got to move or mow the lawn or anything you got to do, it's always better to have somebody with you to do it than as opposed to doing it on your own. And so he's laying the foundation of this idea that we were never created to do life by our own. And then he goes on and says, if either one of them falls, one can help the other up. If either one of them falls, one can help the other. See, the reality is, and you know this, the reality is we're all going to fall. We're all going to have those seasons of our life that are dark, that are hard, that it takes maybe every ounce of strength you have to pull yourself out of bed, to put one foot in front of the other and continue pushing on. We all have that. Sometimes it's because of a decision we made, a decision that we made, something that we did or shouldn't have said that has caused that world to come crashing down. And sometimes it's because of something that somebody else did to us or said that's caused all this chaos in our life, caused the darkness to come in our life. Sometimes it's just life, just circumstances that happen. Something happened, and it's caused a brokenness or hurt in our life. He says that we're all going to fall, but do you have somebody that comes and picks you up? See, that's why the Heart spends so much time. You heard him talk about connect groups a little bit earlier during the message or during the video, that connect groups, and if you don't know what that is, basically connect groups are smaller groups or smaller circles that take place throughout the week outside of this Sunday morning service. You get together, you hang out, you eat together, laugh together, you talk about the message from this past weekend, and it gives you an opportunity to connect. But what it's designed for, the purpose, the reason they put so much energy and effort into this is because they know the value of doing life connected. And they know that this is where life and the inner circle begins to develop in your life. Those 2 or 3 people that are going to walk with you and do this journey with you. So if you were to corner me today and you're saying, well, Jeremy, what so if I gotta choose, come on Sunday morning or go to Connect Group during the week, which one should I go to? I mean, obviously I'm gonna say go to both, because I love this place and I would, desire for you to be plugged in as much as you can here. But if you were to corner me and make me choose, I would say pick a Connect Group, because this is what I say. I believe that life in circles is better than life done in rows. I believe that circles are better than rows, because what I know, it becomes real easy to come in on a bigger crowd and blend in. And I love Sunday mornings. I do. I mean, how could you not love Sunday mornings at this place, right? I mean, you get out of your car, you walk up. As soon as you walk up, there's a couple huggers out there by the front door, and they give you a big hug. And these are legit hugs. They don't just let anybody be a hugger here at the Heart. I mean, these people have the gift of hugging, and they wrap their arms around you, and it's like you can feel every care of the world just begin to melt away as they hug. And then you come in, and they have a concession stand over here with cookies and donuts and coffee, but there's no register because it's all free. You get anything that you want. If you're a broke college student, shove a couple muffins in your pocket, eat them later. They don't care. It's all free. And you come over here, and they have an awesome band that comes up here and plays, and I mean, they're incredible. This isn't Ethel and her magical organ banging out 7 renditions of, Amazing Grace. I mean, these guys are good. They're really good. And when they sing, God's presence shows up. And then you got Dom here or whoever's speaking on here on the weekends giving you something that you can carry with you throughout the week. I love love Sunday mornings. But I know how easy it is, and I know because I do this, and I have done this. I know how easy it is to come in and grab a cup of coffee and do a few smiles and give a few hugs and sit in the crowd and listen to the message, turn around and go home. And though I was smiling on the outside, and I was hurting on the inside. And nobody knows if you don't have that circle. Nobody knows in the crowd. The crowd's great, and I love Sunday mornings, but this is what I would say. Circles are better than rows. Circles are better than rows. He goes on and he says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for the labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. It says, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help him. I pity. Solomon says, I pity. I feel bad. I feel sorry for that person that's been doing life on their own because they felt like they didn't need anybody, that they weren't transparent, they weren't open, that they didn't have that inner circle in their life, and that when life happened, when tragedy happened, when a dark season happened, that they looked around and there was nobody there with them, that they had fallen and there was nobody there to reach over and pick them back up. So I ask you, do you have that circle? See, I think maybe some of us in here need to maybe evaluate the relationships we have in our life. And think about, do we have that person that's going to come alongside us, that 2 or 3 people, and pick us up when we've fallen? Now, years ago, I rented this small apartment, and I was really excited because I'd never had a washer and dryer before, and it had like a washer and dryer connection. And but no washer and dryer. So I had a friend of a friend that knew somebody that was selling their used one, and so I went and I bought this washer and dryer, and went and picked it up. And then I had a friend; she went with me, and we get back, and we get the washer and dryer, kind of in the area. And then I noticed, I looked at the wall, and the wall had like a little 3-prong outlet. Yet the cord on the back of the dryer was 2-prong, and I'm not a handyman by any by any imagination, or I don't have tools. I don't change my own oil. You might be thinking, well, you're not much of a man at all, and you're right. It's just not who. And in fact, to the point where I almost thought about just shoving it into the wall to see if it would power up my dryer, but I thought otherwise, and so I did call a real man. I called my brother-in-law, and I asked him. I said, hey, this is what's going on, and I can't, it won't fit. And he goes, well, you got to go to the hardware store, and they'll, get a cord that will match well on the wall, and then come back and reattach that to the dryer. I was like, oh, okay. So I remember and I'm not making this up, I remember I actually drew a picture of what it looked like on the wall, and I took this to Home Depot, and I'm kind of like just walking around with a picture of it, looking, where all the real men hang out, can somebody help me? This is what I'm looking for. And so they take me over, and here's the cord. That's what you need. You go take this dryer. So I bought this, and I took it home, and so we're sitting there and we're looking at it, and I'm like, well, you know what? I mean, it'd be a shame that I go through all this work to reattach this to the dryer and then it not fit into the wall. So why don't I just go ahead and test it first? Now, some of you that do know things about tools and general just practical electricity, that those wires need to be grounded to something if you're going to plug it into the wall. And that if it's not something that is grounded, that you can be that something that is grounded to. And so I'll never forget, I took the cord and I've been over and she's kind of standing behind me and we're both kind of white. And I got about a quarter of an inch into the wall, and then it was like, and like I saw nothing but fire and smoke and sparks. And I lay there shaking for about 15 seconds. I looked down, my hand was completely black all the way around. And I stood up and I was like, okay, I think everything's still there. And I went to my bedroom and I changed my underwear and I came back. And I looked at her and I said, I sat there for about 60 seconds and you didn't say anything or nudge me or see if I was okay. And she goes, I know. She goes, I thought about it, but I didn't know if I touched you, it might electrocute me too. I realized at that point where my relationship was with this. Now, if there's ever a bear in the woods, I don't need to protect her. I just need to be faster than her. And I needed to maybe evaluate the relationships that I had. Who's going to come alongside me? See, we all need that inner circle of people in our lives that that when they see you fall and they know that you fell because they know what's going on in your life, that they're going to pick you up, even if you almost electrocuted yourself, that they're going to pick you up, that they're going to wrap their arms around you, that they're going to walk alongside you, they're going to pray with you, believe with you, that everything's going to be okay, that you're going to make it through. See, circles are better than rows. I believe that with all my heart. It said, pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. And then he goes on, verse 11, he says, also, if two lie together, they will keep warm. He says, but how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered and two can defend themselves, he said, a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. If you've ever been to a wedding, you've probably heard that before or seen that, a cord of 3 strands. And essentially, he gives us this incredible illustration of a single strand, right? And if you take that single strand and you pull on one side, pull on the other, eventually you pull hard enough, it's going to break. But if you take that same single strand and then you have a second strand and a third strand, and you begin to twist that strand together and you make a cord or a rope, and you try that same thing, it's not easily broken. And he gives this beautiful picture of us doing life, that when we're doing life on our own, and that nobody knows what's going on, and we're not transparent. We got nobody that we're transparent with. And life happens, and tragedy happens, darkness happens, that we're there. We've got nobody to come along and pick us up, that we're easily broken. He said, but when you've got 2 or 3 people that you're doing life with, though it doesn't necessarily stop the pain, that you will not be broken. See, listen, circles, I believe this, circles are better than rows. I want to encourage you, today, they've got a booth there in the back. It says Connect Groups. And you saw some cards that are kind of sitting around. I want to encourage you to investigate these Connect Groups. I want to encourage you to join a Connect Group. If you're not already in a group, later after this service, I want you to go back there, and I want to challenge you to talk to them. Find out the different days, the different times. See, it's in these Connect Groups where you begin to develop that circle of people that you're going to be doing life with for years to come. They're going to know everything about you, that are going to be in your life, that when life happens and pain comes, they're not going to accept, I'm okay, I'm doing okay. They're going to keep calling you. They're going to keep showing up on your doorstep. They're going to get in your mess, get in your life. They're going to come alongside you, wrap their arms around you, pray with you, and believe that you are going to make it through this. I want to challenge you. If you haven't joined a small group or a Connect group, do that. And if you have joined a Connect group before, I want to ask you this. I want to encourage you to make it a priority to make it. See, I know that life happens, time happens. We have school, we have exams, we have work, we have kids, we have different things that are going on in our life, and that there's times that you get to the end of the day, and the idea of going and sitting in a living room with a group of people or going to meet, you just don't feel like it, just tired. I want to encourage you to push through that, to make it a priority, to understand that the circles that happen throughout the week, man, they are greater than the rows that happen on the weekend. And then maybe if you've been doing groups and Connect groups for a while here at the Heart, I want to ask you this. I want to ask, would you pray about possibly leading your own Connect group in your own place? That maybe God's already been nudging your heart and kind of prodding you that way, and you've been thinking about it. Maybe take that step. See, as the church continues to grow, and it's great, as the Sundays grow and the church grows on the weekend, you've got to be intentional about continuing to get smaller during the week, and that you need more and more groups. And so I want to ask you to think about that, because I believe with all my heart that circles are better than rows. And I wish that I had a formula for you that would prevent you from dealing with the hurt and pain in life. I do. That maybe if you went to church 3 times a week and prayed twice a day and you put a Jesus fish on the back of your car, that you would be prevented from all hurt and pain. I wish I had, but that's not true. I mean, you know that life happens. I mean, Jesus said it himself. He said, in this life, you will have trouble. And we do. But he never meant for you to do it alone. That you were designed to be connected. You were designed to have a circle of people that you were doing life with, that when you fall, that they come alongside you. And though it may still hurt, you will not be broken. See, I believe that circles, man, I believe they're better than rows. Let me pray for you. God, I thank you that you love us and you never designed for us to do life on our own. I just pray for every single person in this room. I don't know where they're at, but I know that you do. I pray that you would send people into their lives, that you would send a circle of people that they can do life with, they can be transparent with, that they can walk with, that they encourage each other and pray with each other. God, I pray for those that haven't joined a group yet, a Connect group, that they would take that step, as uncomfortable as it may feel, that they would take that step and join a group. I pray that you would call those here to possibly lead a group. God, we thank you that you love us. Thank you that you died for us. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.